Hey guys, Chili B here again. Today we're going to check out what's in LIP-11. First up, in case you're not too familiar with LIPs or LIPs, it just stands for Lizard Improvement Proposal. Most DAOs in the crypto space have some sort of mechanism for voting and passing major changes to the DAO, and the Ethlizards version of that is an LIP. So today we're looking at LIP-11, which is the temporary replacement of a council member. So heading over to Snapshot where the LIP is up for vote, we can see that a former council member, Wandering Crypto Wolf, has vacated his seat by his own accord. I think he's just gone off grid for a while just to have a break from everything. I'm not 100% sure on that. But because he's missing, we've got an empty seat, and this proposal is to elect Kmao to fill in that seat temporarily. It's temporary in the sense that the position would only exist until the new governance council structure is voted on by the DAO members. So to remind you guys, in the September update, the first update that the new team put out, they suggested that there would be some big changes to the council, which might include a possible second council and reworking of the existing council system. In the mid-September update, they mentioned that this particular council rework stuff would be delayed a little while. So they're thinking about it again pretty deeply, taking inspiration from synthetics and alluvium. So because it would be delayed, they would put up the fifth council seat to be refilled, and the plan for that was to do that by the end of the week, which is pretty much now, so they're pretty on time. So when it says temporary here, I guess temporary is a bit undefined, so it's probably not 1 or 2 or 3 weeks. In my head, it's probably like 3 or 4 months, while a lot of other things happen, and then the council governance structure gets reworked. Something also to note is that if Kmao takes up this seat as a council member, he won't take the 1% compensation which is owed to a council member on top of what he's already getting. So there's no cost to the DAO, and I'm assuming Kmao's just kind of being generous with his time by taking on this role without the compensation that would normally go to it. And the rationale that they provide for choosing Kmao is that this is just a temporary spot. It's not going to last forever, so there's no point in going through a whole council election thing again when the whole council structure might change in the pretty near future anyway. And then also Kmao's already involved, as we know, in all sorts of things with Ethlizards, so it makes sense that he could just slip in and hit the ground running. So LIP-11 is a proposal to elect Kmao to fill the spot that was left open on the council by Wandering Crypto Wolf. So the obvious question, if you don't already know, would be, what is the council? What are we electing Kmao to do? To answer that, we'll head over to LIP-3, which is the only place that I could find that specified what the council does. So LIP-3, which was the vote to become a Gamefi investment DAO, down here mentions the Ethlizard Council. So the Ethlizard Council is a 5-member council elected each epoch, and each epoch lasts 12 months. Council members can't be anonymous, and council members will be paid 5% on profits only. So that's 1% to each council member, and that 1%, if we elect Kmao, he's going to forego that. So the description of the council is pretty light. That was the only kind of official documentation that I could find that described what the council did. And basically said it was 5 elected members. So this is a comment by lizardking.eth, who's one of the council members. I think he's otherwise known as lizardent.eth. And so he says it, referring to a Gamefi investment. It was invested in by our DAO since at least 3 of 5 of the council agreed. So from that, we can tell that the council at least decides on entries and exits regarding Gamefi investments. And I'm just asterisking this because it's not officially documented anywhere, but we can see pretty clearly that's the type of stuff they do. One other thing we can learn from that is that it takes 3 out of 5 votes at least. So it doesn't have to be unanimous. But because it's 3 out of 5, it seems like the 5th council seat's pretty important. So there's the potential then that while one of the council seats is vacant, there might be tied votes, and that would hold up Ethlizard investments. So one other thing we can learn from kind of unofficial sources is that the Ethlizard Council has some sort of influence over the Treasury. So this is from Ethlizard's official. It says, news from the Council. Council has unanimously voted to swap 61 ETH for 100k USD. So that, as far as I can tell, is what the Council is. Some of that comes from, or a lot of that comes from unofficial sources, but we can see that their role, unofficial or official, is super important to the Ethlizard DAO. So while it's not exactly clear what they do, as in it's not documented in some official form, I'm not actually too worried because this is all happening in pretty early days. Things aren't set in stone yet. Things are changing. It's a DAO. We've just gotten a new team in. There's all sorts of things going on. And the cleanup of this council governance system is in the works. So while it's not clear now, I'm not very worried because we're moving towards it being clear. Some questions I have, though, are what exactly are the powers and responsibilities of the investment council? What's the process for how they vote on whatever they're voting on? As in, do all votes have to be 3 out of 5 or do some have to be unanimous? How do things get brought to them to get voted? All those sorts of things. What's the process around their voting? And I'm also curious as to what's already been voted on and what will be voted on in the future. Doesn't seem like we have tons of insight into that, but that would be really interesting for me at least, and maybe important for lizards as a whole to be able to see. But again, I'm not really worried about that now. I think that clarity will come as we rework the council and the governance system. Right now, we're really early. Like, Ethlizards has only been around in this current form for like 1 month with this new team, and then only a handful of months with the previous team. So we're super early, and there's lots of time to work on this sort of stuff. So back to the point of this video. LIP-11 is about voting Kmao in to temporarily fill the 5th council seat because the council is a key part of the Ethlizards DAO. And if the council is inhibited in some way, then Ethlizards as a whole is inhibited in some way. So we need to get that seat filled. Kmao seems to be a really logical choice, and it's only temporary. Temporary being undefined at the moment, but in my head, 3-4 months, something like that. So tell me what you think. I'd love to hear it in the comments below. Do you think Kmao's a good choice for the 5th seat? Do you think this whole temporary thing's a bad idea? Let me know what your thoughts are. And more importantly, go and vote. One of the benefits of being a DAO is that you have a direct say in how it's run. It's also a responsibility, I suppose, because our votes or our lack of votes can really grind the DAO to a halt. So I think at the moment there's only 93 votes, but it takes 500 to get to quorum. And if a vote doesn't get to quorum, then we're really just frustrating our own project. We're slowing it down unnecessarily. So it's much better to have a vote that decides for or against any particular LIP so that we can keep moving forward, as opposed to votes that never reach quorum. And so we never know what people think and we never know what people want to do. And because it's a DAO, we can never move forward. So your vote's really important. There's only 5,050 Ethlizards. So your one vote, your one Ethlizard, actually has a pretty meaningful say. So please go vote. whichever way you think is best. I hope this video has helped you wrap your head around the LIP, and I hope it encourages you to get out there and vote. I'll catch you next.